Microphone? That works. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity in Naperville. Thanks for making this day more joyous for me. It's always good to see beautiful faces here. And I know, though you are invisible online, that you are part of the present. So thank you for joining us wherever you are today, from whatever state. We're discovering that people are just stretched out all over our country here today. So we're glad for you, no matter what time it is for you, that you're joining us. And I'm grateful to be here with you as well. We're sending love and healing blessings to our beloved Kim Char. And we have a fabulous Highest Good band here to lead us this morning. Kevin, Mark. Is Mark back there?
And,
okay.
the two of us, dynamic duo.
Just the two of us. All right. And I better not sing with you guys. So if you'd like to just stand as you're able, and I'll ask you to do one thing as you stand. If this is comfortable for you, turn around. Hey, point us out where the cameras are, you guys. Right here, there's cameras up on the... Say hi to everybody out there. Say, hey, we see you. Welcome, welcome. And if you want to stay standing while we're singing, Kevin, let's get started.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Let's sing We Are One in the Spirit. We are. Woo. Oh, guess what? It always helps when I use a capo, when the song calls for a capo. So, hell, that sounds better. Yeah, there we go. All right. And much better. We are one in the Spirit. We are one in the light. We are one in the Spirit. We are one in the light. We will walk on our way together, shining laughter through the night. And we'll know we are family by our love, by our love. And we'll know we are family by our love. We will walk with each other. We will walk hand in hand. We will walk with each other. We will walk hand in hand. And cause the world to know the love of God is in the land. And we'll know we are family by our love, by our love. And we'll know we are family by our love. We will work with each other. We will work side by side. We will work with each other. We will work side by side. We will guard each one's dignity and lift each one's pride. And we'll know we are family by our love, by our love. And we'll know we are family by our love. And we'll know we are family by our love. And we'll know we are family by our love. Oh, you all sound so good out there. And now, if my cool little on-song thing will turn, it's not, well, you know what I'm going to, when in doubt, flip it around this way. Okay, now it seems to be working. And okay, I might be asking Mark about, oh, there we go. It's got half of it. Okay. And, wow. Okay. There we go. Let's sing Centered in the Peace of God. Kim Char, we love this song and we love you. Up and down, spinning around. Seems things are changing almost every day. Up and down, spinning around. But I find balance, I find my way, centered in the peace of God. Centered in the peace of God. Up and down, spinning around. Seems things are changing almost every day. Up and down, spinning around. But I find balance, I find my way, centered in the peace of God. Centered in the peace of God. There is clarity, there is wisdom, there is abundant grace, centered in the peace of God. Centered in the peace of God. Up and down, spinning around. It seems things are changing almost every day. Up and down, spinning around. But I find balance, I find my way, centered in the peace of God. Centered in the peace of God. There is clarity, there is wisdom, there is abundant grace, centered in the peace of God. Centered in the peace of God. There is clarity, there is wisdom, there is abundant grace, centered in the peace of God. Yes, we are centered in the peace of God. All of us are centered in the peace of God. Centered in the peace of God.
Ah, let's just take a deep breath and center in. We know there's been enough chaos in the world. It's our turn to turn within, to find that calm, peaceful, loving, stable presence. Grateful to know in this moment, as we center in God, that all is well, that the power we need is present, the love that we need is harmonizing our life for good. The order is returning all things into seamless goodness in our life. And so it is. Amen. Will you help me speak our invocation? The words are here on the screen. Together. There's only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. Thank you. You may be seated.
I allow goodness to come in. I am ready to receive. I allow goodness to come in. I believe, I believe, I believe. I allow love into my life. I am ready to receive. I allow life. I believe, I believe, I believe. Welcome hope and faith. Welcome loving ways. Welcome hope and faith. Welcome loving ways. I allow fortune in my home. I am ready to receive. I allow fortune in my home. I believe, I believe, I believe. I allow surrender in my home. I am ready to receive. I allow surrender in my soul. I go, I let go, I let go. Welcome hope and faith. Welcome loving ways. Welcome hope and faith. Welcome loving ways. I allow goodness to come in. I am ready to receive. I allow goodness to come in. I believe, I believe, I believe. I believe, I believe, I believe. I believe, I believe, I believe.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Mark. Whoops. Tragedy on the platform. Don't want anything flooding here. We've had enough of those, right? So Parker, I'm a humming. I think, yeah, I'm humming. But there's some kind of like echo humming there. Do you hear that? Hum, hum. Yeah, so maybe it's just because I'm loud. I am a loud girl, I have to admit. So thanks for putting up with me. Thanks for joining today. We started talking about worry last week. I'm just checking in to see. Nobody had any worries this past week, right? No one? Maybe one of you? Anyone want to share what the worry was about? What is it? Florida. What else did you worry about? Ukraine. Anything personal? Family members? Yeah. Money. Health. Just typical human life, right? And you know, it's not something that brings us joy when we worry, right? And rarely does it solve the problem. Rarely does it bring divine ideas in with it. And yet it just seems to come so naturally. I mean, we don't like to worry, but it just comes natural. You have a fear, here it comes, here comes the story. And we have convinced ourselves along the line that if we worry, we will solve the problem, or we will at least survive, hopefully get our needs met, or maybe demonstrate to our loved ones that we care when we worry. And then it doesn't solve the problem. It still is out there, and we still feel bad. So we're talking about how to change the channel on that worry. There's got to be a better way, because We don't want to feel bad, and we don't want to get in our way, and that's what worry does. It gets in the way of solving our problems. So we're going to talk about some tools that we can use today to help us get there. And in order for us to do that, I just want to prepare you that you kind of need to know how the universe works. Just a tiny little thing, but very important. Absolutely critical to understand how God's universe works. You know, Jesus talked about the kingdom of heaven being here, all around us, at hand, even within us. We speak of that kingdom as the spiritual dimension. It's the place that we will come to know again when we leave the body. And even though we can't see it, it's still just as present as this physical world around us. And it is providing all of our good. And we live in this physical universe intertwined with that spiritual dimension, and it tends to have some problems associated with it. So what we want to know about this is that the universe of the divine spirit can be reached, can be experienced and expressed if we will turn away from the physical world. And I know that's not an easy thing to do. But it's important to understand that whether we're present in the spiritual dimension in our consciousness, or we're just focused on what's going on here in the physical world, we are still being guided and provided for by a divine law that says, okay, whatever you are being right now, whatever you are generating from your consciousness, the universe reads and sends back to you. So we can either look out around us and see the spiritual good and feel good and therefore see more good coming in our way towards us, or we can only look at the problem and worry about it and generate that feeling of worry, which will then draw forth more of that junk in the world to worry about. So I think we all can agree that when we look at something and we fear it, we can almost instantly feel it in our bodies. Mine, it hits right here in the gut, in the tummy. But some of us, the shoulders tense up or our hands get into a fist. And that tells us right there that we're out of alignment with spirit. As soon as we worry and feel contracted is basically what it is. We are not only not feeling good, but we've just put up a wall, a barrier to the spiritual dimension that wants to provide our good because we're resonating at different points of energy. And so there's a scripture in the book of Psalms up here on the screen. It says, "Cast your cares on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never let the righteous be shaken." And when we talk about that, we're talking about, metaphysically, we're talking about casting our fears, our worries, into the spiritual dimension, where there is no trouble, there is no sickness, there is no lack. There's only peace and wisdom and love and life. And it needs our cooperation for that. Think of how a boulder is so heavy, it's very difficult to budge. But the reason that it is that is not because it's big, it's because there's a law working that holds it to the earth. What's that law called? Gravity, right. So interestingly enough, when we have a problem like sickness in the body, or we're low on finances, we're in conflict with someone in our life, it is not that person, it is not money that is the boulder in our life. It's actually the worry. And the reason I know that is because if you take the boulder and you cast it into the outer atmosphere, it suddenly becomes light, right? It has no weight. In the same way, if we take our worrisome thought and cast it into the spiritual dimension, cast it on that Christ consciousness that's within us and without, it suddenly has no weight. It has no power in our life. So our work is to cast the burden and recognize that when you are feeling worried, that is a signal that you are absorbed in something that is none of your business. It means you are looking at it from a point of view that has got you held to the ground, that has got you held back by the physical world around you. So even if you were able to find a doctor or a loan or some good-looking person on Match.com. That solved my worry, but only for a minute, because it will soon come back again if we don't address the worry itself, which is based on the fact that we think the only solution to our problems is what we can come up with in the physical dimension. So one of my favorite writers is Esther Hicks. You might know her as Abraham Hicks. She says this up here on the screen. She said, "In your world today, there are countless remedies offered, but there are not enough actions in the world to compensate for vibrational resistance. By focusing simply upon your vibrational relationship with the energy of your source, thank God, spiritual dimension, you will be distracted from any unwanted conditions. And as you withdraw your attention from those unwanted conditions, they will cease to exist." So let me go back to that sentence. By focusing simply upon your vibrational relationship with the energy of your source. What the heck does that mean? It means that if you can pay attention to how you're feeling, what kind of thoughts you're thinking and sending out to the universe, recognizing that the law is listening, if you can keep your eye on that and your feelings on that and keep adjusting your thoughts, your ideas, until you start to feel good, then you know you are in divine relationship with your answers. And that's when you'll be able to hear that divine insight from within, and you'll run into the resources that you need. So casting our care actually begins with changing our own personal energy. And you're carrying an energy, you're sending it out to the universe. I know some of you well enough, I've been around you long enough that I feel your energy when we meet, and I can almost tell whether you've had a good week or a bad week, because you're sending out your energy. And I think you all know what that's like, to feel that in other people as you greet them. So when you're facing an obstacle, you can contract, or you can expand and lighten up and let go and feel the freedom of spirit. And that's not always an easy thing to do. But as long as you contract, you're tied to this physical universe, this physical world, and you're trying to manipulate things physically, and it doesn't usually work out for our good when we're coming from that energy of worry. So we need to expand to see from a higher point of view. It's how Jesus was able to heal. It's because when he was with other people, even though their energy was low and slow and fearful and hopeless, he saw who they were as spiritual beings. He saw their light. He knew their wholeness. And he looked at them from that point of view. Expansive perception, expansive energy. And he just drew them right up into the spiritual dimension where he was, where there is no sickness. And that's how the healing works. Now, the person had to have faith. They had to believe. They didn't need to know the details of all that. They just believed in Jesus. Good enough, because he was in that place where he could see only spirit and knew the power of only spirit and the perfection of it. So he was trying to teach them how to walk that way. From Matthew chapter 11 on the screen, he said, "Walk with me and work with me and watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you'll learn to live freely and lightly." That's a life without worry. So let's look at some tools that will get us into that point of view. Starting with the tool of our thought, our thinking ability. We're thinking all the time, but most of the time, okay, I'm just going to say it, 95% of the time, you're letting your subconscious do your thinking for you. How's that working for you? Not always very well, right, Cindy? Yes. So recognize that every thought we think has its own vibration. Everything is energy, and it's communicating to the universe and attracting back more thoughts of like kind. And so we want to make sure that we're focused on thoughts that do us good. When you start to worry, you're basically saying, "I don't want that. No, keep that away from me." But guess what? The universe isn't hearing your no, it's hearing the about. Yeah, it's connecting you to whatever it is you're looking at and pushing against. So it doesn't matter whether you want it or you don't want it. if you're focused on it, if you're crying about it, if you're pushing back against it, it is the vibration that you are. Do you understand that? Do you see how that works? You start to line up with whatever it is you're focused on, even if you don't want it. And that's when we wind up with more of the same in our life. So instead of saying no to sickness or lack or conflict in our life, we want to learn to start to say yes to whatever it is we do want instead. Eric Butterworth, one of Unity's great teachers and writers, up here on the screen, he said, if you change your thought and thus get into a yes consciousness, you become synchronized with the divine flow, and you create the condition that makes the result inevitable. True positive thinking is simply synchronizing yourself, your beingness, with the great positive, with the great yes of spirit, and thus you create the condition that makes your desire inevitable. The great yes of spirit. What do you think the great yes of spirit is? Anybody? How would you define the great yes of spirit? Cindy? Create a space for the blessings that happen. And the blessings that happen are basically God expressing. Anything good in our life is just God expressing. So this list up here, let's go to the next screen, please. This list up here are ways that God is always expressing. God is saying yes to life, to love, to supply, to peace, to creativity. God is being that all the time. We just have to get into the same energy of it and say yes to it. So that's why that affirmation, let's put this affirmation up here and say this together. Actually, pick a word, any word that you think suits you right now, what you would like to be, what you would like to say yes to. You got it? Okay, so when we finish this sentence and you get to the blank, you just fill in your word, but let's all say it out loud together. Ready? I cast this burden on the Christ within, and I go free to live in joy. Did you choose one? Okay. See, that's the way it works. That's how we use our tool of thought, is to choose a thought, not let it overtake us from history, because otherwise we'll just keep doing what we've been doing. Whatever was in our past will continue. So we're going to send that worry into the spiritual dimension and raise it higher to where it can no longer do us any harm by saying yes to what we prefer instead. So our second tool, we go from thoughts to imagination. And this is even more powerful because we respond better and more strongly to pictures than we do to words. I'm probably just, most of the time I'm up here talking, I'm going to cough, sorry. Talk, and it might go in one ear and out the other. But if I put up an entire message in pictures, you would remember that so much better. Don't you agree? Most people are visual learners compared to auditory. So know that you have the power to create pictures in your mind. And you know who is an expert at that? Worry. Worry has hijacked the nature of our imagination. That's what worry is. Worry and picturing power is pretty much the same. But what we're picturing is something that hasn't happened yet. We're just painting it with all kind of visuals that feel bad. So if our worrier can do that, our spirit can do that. And so we're going to learn how to turn our eyes away from the tragedies, that mindless observation of things that are going on in our life, day in and day out. Stop watching the news so much. Stop watching online so much and getting these pictures in our mind, because that just drops down into the subconscious. And then when that similar situation that you saw online shows up at your doorstep, you immediately revert back to that picture and you begin to worry again, right? So this is our opportunity to change the channel. When we're talking about using our imagination, we're talking about choosing a picture that we prefer to happen in our life. What do you want to say yes to? What do you want to say yes to? It's picturing how spirit would express through you with the energy of life. What does that create? A healthy body. So you picture you in a healthy body. What are you doing? How is life different for you? Picture love expressing through you. And suddenly, you're in harmony with everyone that you meet. You can see that. You know, one of my favorite visuals using the power of imagination is when I'm in conflict with someone, I picture us hugging or at least shaking hands and smiling. I don't need to know how that's going to happen. That's not my job. All I need is the end result of what I'm seeking. Use your power of imagination when you're struggling with finances to picture how divine substance, which is basically just the Spirit of God expressing in tangible ways, as being infinite supply. What does that look like for you? How would your life be different if you were saying yes to divine abundance? And when you're struggling with trying to come up with a solution in time for something, picture in your mind this light bulb over your head. Ta-da! I've got the idea. I know exactly what I need to do. Okay? And once you get your picturing power going, that is going to generate another one of your tools up here. It's the tool of feelings. Your feelings are even stronger power when it comes to communicating with that law because they're stronger energy. Whether they're good feelings or bad feelings, they are communicating loudly to the universe, and it is coming back to you. Let it be done to you as you believe. And when you believe, you know what you believe because you feel some kind of an emotion associated with it. So pay attention to your feelings and start to use your thoughts and your picturing power to generate the feelings that are associated with the spiritual dimension. What would it feel like to be living in a healthy body? Strong, powerful, flexible, mobile, comfortable, alive, vibrant. Let yourself start to feel that. Hold that picture and those thoughts until you start to feel that kind of energy. How would you feel if you were living a relationship at peace with someone you've been in conflict with? What would it feel like? Comfortable, grateful, open, free, kindness, generosity, contentment. Stay with that picture until you can feel those feelings. What would it feel like to be living the abundant life? You know, we've all struggled with money at some point in our life. If suddenly you allowed Spirit, you got it, you figured it out, how to allow God's divine substance to move easily through your life so that the flow of supply just keep happening, how would that feel? Good, great, freedom. Give me another word. Feeling. Relaxed, peaceful, creative, enthusiastic. What if you're struggling with coming up with a solution? You need an answer to something, and you can see in your mind's eye that this idea has finally come, the one you've been looking for, because you're letting divine wisdom flow through you. How would that feel? Yeah, just a feeling of relaxation, maybe even inspiration, because it's inspiring new ideas in you to go forward and do even greater things. All these feelings that you're generating on purpose, according to what you're saying yes to, is sending that message out to the universe. This is who I am. This is who I am. And the universe comes back and shows you more of who you are, more people, more resources, more information about who you are. Isn't it that a lot more fun than worrying? And a lot more effective? Yes. Okay, so our fourth tool up here is our words. And that's something that we tend to use against ourselves on a regular basis. Every word that we speak has some kind of meaning to it. Sometimes the dictionary will say it means one thing, but you have decided it means something completely different. That's up to you. But the point is, what do you believe about what you're saying? And most of the time when we are worried about something, the first thing we want to do is do what? Tell somebody. Get on the phone or send a text, or this is happening, or this might happen, or this is a threat. And as we send that out with our words, we hear it, it goes back into the subconscious, it's just this cycle. We're just strengthening the power of what it is that we don't want. But Life and death are in the power of the tongue. So we want to make sure that the words that come out of our mouth are words that support what is true about God in our life. It's okay to tell a trusted loved one something that has you worried, because otherwise that energy can just kind of fester in you. It's when we tell them and 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 tell them that we start to generate that energy that is not serving us. So keep paying attention to the power of your words. One of my favorite scriptures about this is Isaiah 55 on the screen. It says, "For as the rain and the snow come down from heaven and do not return there until they've watered the earth, making it bring forth and sprout, giving seed to the sower and bread to the eater, so shall my word be that goes out from my mouth. It shall not return to me empty, but it shall accomplish that which I purpose and succeed in the thing for which I sent it." That's pretty powerful. Your words have meaning, and when you resonate with the words that you're speaking, this is who I am, this is what I want. Even though I don't want it, this is who I am, this is what I want, based on what we're saying. So we want to shift our words, because life and death are in the power of the tongue. So here's an affirmation for us that I think will help curtail that and give you an idea about the kinds of things that you can say. So I'm going to invite you to say this with me. This issue, ready? Here we go. This issue has no power over me. I am a spiritual being, established in wholeness and life. I live in an abundant universe that loves and supports me. As I seek, I find. When I ask, it is given. Divine wisdom fills my thoughts with perfect solutions. All things are working together for my highest good. Doesn't that feel good? So your words create feelings, which are more energy out to the world. They start to create more pictures in your mind. Are you getting how these tools are working for you? So, as Jesus said, if you believe that what you say will come to pass, it will be done for you. And remember, that means you don't have to know how. It will be done for you. Our fifth tool is about gratitude. It's about love. It's about praising. It's about blessing. It's about giving out goodness, seeing what is good in the world around you. So I'm going to ask you to just think about something that you've worried about this past week. And then ask yourself, is there something in the mix there that I could be grateful for? Even if it's just, well, at least I can go to bed tonight and go to sleep and forget about this for a little while. That will raise your energy. That will bring you closer into the spiritual dimension. I'm not wanting to be callous about our worries, but sometimes that's the best we can do, depending on how strong they are. And I was thinking about, all the folks on the East Coast, Florida, and everywhere that the storm has hit. It's interesting that they've started giving them names over the last several years, which basically puts a face on them. Suddenly they become an enemy. And we're just strengthening our worry that way. It's a storm. It did damage. It took lives. We do not deny that. But if we can shift our focus from worrying about those people to saying yes to God in that situation, then not only does it calm our own worries, but we become part of the collective consciousness that they're living from. Because right now they are trying to find a place to sleep. They are trying to find food to eat and some kind of peace in their lives. And it might take them a while to get to that yes consciousness. So you do it for them. That's our work here as, what do we call those? Spiritual light keepers, faith keepers, essential light workers. We come up with all kinds of names for your work here. So part of it is holding for them what is possible. That the life of God is present in the midst of that darkness, and it can heal. The substance, the spiritual energy of God can be reformed into supply of some kind that's needed. Those resources are always available because God is always present. That peace of God is in the midst of this if we turn and look in that direction and give it power in our hearts and in our minds. That's our work to do in these catastrophic worldwide situations. is to say yes to God, not no to the storm, but yes to God. So Charles Fillmore talked about praising things. The things that seem to be falling apart. There is good in it because there is God in it, so let's find the good. He says, turn the power of praise upon whatever you wish to increase. In other words, that yes stuff. You can praise yourself from weakness to strength, from ignorance to intelligence, from poverty to affluence, from sickness to health. You use your power of praise. That's what Myrtle did. She praised all the sick parts of her body, reminding them of what was true of God in them. That divine intelligence is revealing your renewing power. And the cells are like, what? What? Oh, that's new. Haven't heard that. And we just immediately rise up into that spiritual dimension, and we let the heavy physical nature of it go. We can use that praising power even with our enemies, even with those people that you feel are against you and you might fear them. Instead of fearing, worrying about them, we bless them. You have the ability to confer good on them, to see good in them. And you actually could bless them to the point where they have the ability to confer good on others and see that in them. So when we look at them, instead of resenting or wanting to harm them yourself, we look and bless that the power of God within you is being revealed. The goodness of God within you is being freed. And therefore, they experience it, and so do you. Now, they've got to be willing, and it's very possible that they're not willing. But guess what? Even if they're not willing to reveal good, if you can get into that point of view, you're going to find other people that do reveal good, and they will matter not in your life. Take a breath. Okay, here comes our last one, our tool of non-resistance. Non-resistance. Again, when worry just starts kicking in naturally, we want to go into contraction, which is basically putting up a wall. No, we're saying. That's heavy-duty resistance. I don't want that. That's resistance. And therefore, you're now resonating with that which you don't want. But we want to change our thoughts and our feelings and our picturing power and our words to a place that says, I release, I let go, I allow, I let love manage this situation. Because you've heard me say a million times, that which you resist persists. That's the law. That which you give out, you get back. So what we want to do is get to that point where I recognize this has no power over me, because the only power working in my life is the omnipotence, the one power of God. I don't care what it looks like. I let that go. The only power working in my life is God. Let's say that. The only power working in my life is God, and that's a good power. So this is a non-issue. This is irrelevant to me. This is none of my business as far as why it's happening or how it's happening or what it's going to turn into. None of my business. It's like when Jesus was calling Peter to walk with him, and they were chatting, and Peter looks over and sees John following along behind, like, what about him? Like, why does he always have to follow along? Jesus' answer was, what is that to you? That's none of your business. You follow me. Let those worrisome thoughts go. You follow the Christ consciousness within. Those higher frequency divine ideas. One of the most powerful things I've ever seen written was from Imelda Shanklin up here on the screen. She says, non-resistance commands omnipotence. Non-resistance is God living you in holiest manifestation. When you stop pushing and controlling and trying to be the person in charge of this disaster, you are putting up a barrier between you and spirit. But non-resistance is opening your heart, opening every inch of your energy. And what that does is it pushes a button on omnipotence. Go, God. God is now free. Life is now free to flow. Love is now free to flow. Wisdom is now free to flow. It's always there. It's always waiting. But we have to put our arms down. We have to open our heart and let go. Surrender doesn't mean, okay, I'm going to let this problem win. Surrender means you're going to let omnipotence work. I'm going to let omnipotence work. Now, just the idea of that ought to make you go, yes, my arms are down. Because the fullness of God is ready and willing to work through me. So, we have to give permission to Spirit. It won't take over our lives unless we can align with it in our energy, unless we move up into the spiritual dimension. Let me just share one little quick story before we finish from Florence Scovel Shinn. She's written a bunch of books from way back when, probably early 1900s. She said one of my students had been given a new piano. That's good news. But there was no room in her studio for it until she had moved out the old one. Wow, what a horrible problem to have, right? She was in a state of perplexity. She wanted to keep the old piano, but she knew of no place to send it. She became desperate, since the new piano was to be sent immediately. In fact, it was on its way with no place to put it. She said it came to her to repeat, I cast this burden on the Christ within, and I go free. A few moments later, her phone rang, and a friend asked if she might rent her old piano. It was moved out a few minutes before the new one arrived. She didn't know how it was going to work, but she chose to cast the worry onto that spiritual consciousness within, and that freed up God's good to move, to connect the dots and bring in the resources that were needed. We do not need to know how, we just allow our good to flow. Okay? So, none of my business. I just let go and let love manage the situation. You were designed to be an expression of the divine 24/7. You were designed that way. You've already got everything that you need. It's just that every time we get caught up in a worry of some kind, we put up a roadblock to that. So we've got to stop and change the channel and use our thoughts to focus on Spirit, use our picturing power to imagine what our good looks like. We use our feelings to feel the end result. We give thanks. We use our words to give thanks. We use our words to talk about what we want to say yes to. We bless and praise the situation, allowing it to become good in our life, and then we let go and let love handle the details. Okay, those are your tools. Did you write them all down? Because they'll be on our website. If you go to our podcast, you can see all these slides, so you can write them all down and use them later. So how about if we take some time in meditation? And what I'll share with you today is just ideas that will calm your worries and give you something to think about and to imagine and to feel. See if my words can help you get there. Don't you just want to do that? Take a deep breath. Notice what you're feeling right now, and is there any place in your body that you might want to just breathe into and cast any tension into the spiritual dimension? What's going on in your life right now might be wanting to take up your thoughts. But allow your thoughts now to turn toward the spiritual presence that wants only good for you. We know I am one with God and one with my good, for they are the same. Only that which is true of God is true of me. Divine love now raises me above every wrong condition in body, mind, and affairs, and I am free. I'm divinely sensitive to my intuitive guidance. I know what is mine to do. And I now let go of worn out conditions and worn out things. I let divine order be established in my life. I see that endless good is coming to me in endless ways. I release the past and I live in the wonderful now, where all power resides, where happy surprises come to me every day. There are no lost opportunities in divine mind. As one door shuts, another door opens and leads me to my highest good. There are no obstacles in divine mind, so there's nothing to obstruct my good. I freely and gratefully receive it. I am a receiver of my good. My body is alive with the vibrant activity of divine life as it renews and empowers me. My good now flows to me in a steady, ever-increasing stream. Success and happiness. I'm in perfect harmony with everyone I meet. Every person is a golden link in the chain of my good. My supply is endless, inexhaustible, and immediate. Comes to me with ease and grace. I am at peace with myself and with the whole world. I love all beings, and all beings love me. This is the truth of my being. For this is the truth of God in me, and so now I let it be. Amen. Fear not, little flock. It's the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom all around us. So this is the time in our service where we share tithes and love offerings. Just check in for a minute and see if there's any worry about that. Is there anything the subconscious wants to say to you about giving? And what is true? What is true about God? What is true about good? We definitely don't want to give if we feel a negative energy, because it will give you no pleasure and it will do you no good. Only give when you can gladly release. One of the ways that we do that with joy is we speak this affirmation over it. So let's say this blessing together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. If you're watching online, there's an easy way for you to give on Facebook. There's a donation button, and on our website at unityinnaperville.org. Or you can write a check to our P.O. Box 9733 in Naperville, and the zip is 60567. I am deeply grateful. We are deeply grateful for all that you give to help sustain our community. Thank you for that. Let's sing, Kevin. Ushers, will you come, please?
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Good morning. We have this really nice microphone. Wow. Okay. I'm Cindy Spees. I'll be sharing announcements with you today. If you are joining us for the very first time, welcome. I know I saw a lot of new faces this morning. Thank you. Okay. We're thrilled that you're here. If you want to learn more about what's happening at Unity, sign up for our weekly e-news, or for Kitty's twice monthly New Thoughts email by going to our homepage at unityinnaperville.org or email at admin@unityinnaperville.org. And now for what's happening in Unity. Our Board of Trustees are available after the service if you have questions about the business of Unity. Will the board members please stand? Thank you. We've added a new section to eNews. Let your Unity community know about what services you have to offer, things to sell, services you need to engage, etc. in our new community bulletin board. It's kind of a play on words, Unity bulletin board, okay. Read about it in Tuesday's eNews. For details or access to all the following events, you can go to the events calendar at unityinnaperville.org. Monday Morning Metaphysics meets tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Go to Unity Community Connect and you'll find the Zoom link. Yes.
I'll talk really loud so you can hear me. Really get a chance to actually connect Monday Morning Metaphysics with the person who leads it, and that's Mary Beth Spear. Will you stand up and say hi?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. The grief support group will meet tomorrow at 7 p.m. And I believe that's on, you go to the Unity Community Connect to get the Zoom link
Actually,
for
no,
that.
go to the event calendar
Go
on
to the
our
event
website.
calendar?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Reverend Kitty's Your Healing Journey class meets online Tuesday at 7 p.m. and on site Wednesday at 10 a.m. We will learn healing prayer techniques practiced by some of the world's greatest healers. The class is $20. Go to the website calendar or the info table to register. Courageous Writers meet Saturday at 10 a.m. Okay, and that's on Zoom, correct?
Everything should be unityinnaperville.org first,
Okay,
and
then go
look
to-
at the event calendar, and it'll give you instructions.
Okay. Join Susan Rittenhouse and Reverend Kitty on Zoom Wednesday, October 19th at 7 p.m. for a personal history workshop. They will guide us through the process of collecting information, writing the narrative, and putting your personal history to a format that is useful to you and your family. Go to the website calendar or the info table to register. Register now for the Crystal Bowl meditation live at Unity on Friday, October 21st at 7 p.m. Relax and restore as the soothing sounds and vibrations of crystal bowls fill the room, balancing your chakras and bringing a deep sense of peace. Love offering is $20. Go to the website calendar or the info table to register. Prayer chaplains are available to pray with you by phone after the service. Email your name and phone number to prayer@unityinnaperville.org, and a prayer chaplain will call you today by 1 p.m. Okay. For details on all our events, go to www.unityinnaperville.org. For questions, email us at admin@unityinnaperville.org. Thank you.
Thanks, Cindy. We're looking for October babies. Anybody here born in October? We want to sing to you. We won't make you embarrassed or anything. Any October babies? We have a few up here online. Marcy Travis, Kim Char Meredith, they're having birthdays this week, so let's sing to them.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear friends. Happy birthday to you. Woo. Let's sing Let There Be Peace.
Go, let's stand.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joy and found. Take each moment and live each moment in peace.
Kevin. So this is our last healing class this week, but if you haven't been to the other two, there's still lots to be learned. So I hope you'll think about joining us for that. Grief support this week, Monday morning metaphysics, lots of things on the calendar. So unityinnaperville.org. Check it out and see if you want to join us for any of that. And here's our closing affirmation. So let's just speak these words from our heart. Together, I release all worry and raise my thoughts to all that is good, because all that is good is all that is God, right? And God is everywhere present. Thanks for making the time to join us today. Would you mind, before you leave, just turning around to somebody and introducing yourself, saying, hey, come out in front and join us for some yummy stuff. And if you want to turn around and say goodbye to our online crowd, give them a wave. Yeah. See you later, you guys. Thanks for joining us.
Up and down, spinning around. Seems things are changing almost every day. Up and down, spinning around. But I find balance, I find my way, centered in the peace of God. Centered in the peace of God. Up and down, spinning around. Seems things are changing almost every day. Up and down, spinning around. But I find balance, I find my way, centered in the peace of God. Centered in the peace of God. There is clarity, there is wisdom. There is abundant grace, centered in the peace of God. Centered in the peace of God. There is clarity, there is wisdom. There is abundant grace, centered in the peace of God. Centered in the peace of God. Yes, we are centered in the peace of God. We all are centered in the peace of God. Thanks everybody for singing, and we feel the love.